All right, guys, we're out here at the beautiful Osprey Point Golf Course today with Mr. Grant Horvat. Grant, appreciate you being out here,
Eric,
man.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out here. We're gonna hit some shots, and I'm gonna show Grant my favorite weight shift drill in today's video. I'm excited for this one. I love this one. It's super simple and easy for you to use. If you're someone looking to improve your solid contact, the consistency day to day with the golf swing, the weight shift is so important, and it's the finer details that we're gonna talk about in today's video you may not have heard before that could make all the difference in the world.
Next on the 10th tee, Grant Horvat.
Grant, if you could take a setup to that golf ball for us here. Now, Grant does a lot of this weight shifting really well. He's gonna serve as a great visual model for us. But I wanna show you this simple drill. I've got a alignment rod right in line with the golf ball at setup. So with a neutral ball position, Grant's got, what, a 7-iron there?
Got a 7-iron, yep.
So that's gonna be just slightly forward of the middle of your stance, of the positioning. And we wanna use that as a reference point for where our trail hip goes during the backswing and where both hips go during the follow through. Okay, but before we get to that, Grant, why don't you hit us one out there? And we're gonna see kind of Grant's swing, and then we'll talk through some of the details and some of the drills. Notice where Grant starts, notice his movement during the backswing and how he gets into his finish position here. Then we'll work through some of the details for us. Yeah, awesome. So that's pretty much what we're all looking for throughout the entire golf swing, okay? But the key is, if we're not able to do that on repeat, what do we need to focus on to do it? Now, Grant, before we get to the drill, when you take your setup, let's take your setup position where you feel comfortable. With something like a 7-iron, where do you feel at your setup? Are you 50-50? Do you feel more on either foot?
Yeah, I like to be probably 70% on my left, 30% on my right. So I like to start with a lot of weight on my left because that's where I want to return to with my weight. So I think from there, if I start with more weight here, I can shift into my right side and then get back to that original feeling of setup.
Yeah, and so like, that's gonna make some people nervous.
Yeah.
Like, man, are you telling me you gotta have some weight forward at the setup position?
Yeah.
But it's totally okay, guys, to feel that 60 or 70, even if it's just a feel, like you've got a little bit more pressure on that front leg. And Grant, do you find that that helps with like solidness of strike, consistency of contact?
For sure, I mean, it's gonna be really difficult to strike a golf ball with your weight back. It just is. You're gonna have to offset that with a lot of shaft lean. So I feel like for a lot of golfers out there, the way you can almost guarantee a really consistent strike is by really trying to move into your left side and post up, because that's gonna probably make your bottoming out point happen in front of the ball. You can get away with it even if your golf swing's not the greatest. You can still get away with it if you're moving left into your left side here and posting up.
And we're gonna show Grant throughout the video hitting, and if you watch the best players in the world, you'll see a lot of their body moving towards the target, specifically the lower body, throughout the downswing. And you think about it this way, where your weight is in a golf swing is where the club wants to hit the ground.
Right.
Where your weight is where the club wants to hit the ground. So if we wanna be able to hit ball first, ground second, just like Grant's divot there, it serves the reason, right? We wanna get those hips moving forward. Now, Grant, if you take your setup again, we feel a little bit more forward at the start.
Yep.
What do you feel during the backswing?
So I like to feel a shift into my right side. And I talk about this a lot, and this can get a little bit confusing for people because they think, you know, when you shift, you go this way. But this move that I just showed here is the death move. I feel like when the weight gets outside this right knee, I like to feel my weight really inside this right knee here on the backswing. So when I'm shifting, the hip's actually gonna, if anything, move backwards like you're talking about.
Yeah.
My upper body could be moving a little more off the ball, but the hip can still be moving backward to offset that. So yeah, I really do like to feel the weight just inside my knee here while I'm shifting. So it's not this way. This is the death move. This is what, when I see somebody do this, I'm like, oh boy. Cause like you're gonna have to get your hip back in place and then go. And it's like, oh boy, golf's hard enough. Yeah, I like to feel it really just inside there while shifting. So I can still load while keeping that structure there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like the weight or pressure in your feet might be moving to the right.
Right.
Like the mass of Grant's body isn't moving way to the right. We're gonna touch on that in finer detail in a moment.
Yeah.
But from there, Grant, let's say you get up to the top, you feel pretty loaded and centered. Is it from there for you just, okay, right to a full finish?
Yeah, for sure. from there, I kind of just let it unleash. I feel like if you set yourself up in the golf swing for success, it's like winding up a spring or winding up something. If you load the muscles properly and you're in this position, from there, I'm kind of just trying to feel that balanced position. And the club and the arms and all that people talk about, that's gonna follow your body, I feel like. So it's just it's kind of like a reaction from there.
Love it. Let's hit one more before Grant hits here, and then we'll go through the drill. Grant, take your setup where you feel comfortable. One thing I want you to notice, and maybe we'll draw a line on the screen here. If you imagine a line or a wall up outside of Grant's hip here, outside of his right hip, notice when he swings, his hip is not gonna move to the right of that line. And really any shifting he's gonna have or weight shift, it happens early. Like really from like the setup through kind of the takeaway or first half of the swing. The best players shift their weight the earliest. The worst ball strikers do it the latest.
That's a great point. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I guess I would say, right about to here, my weight's already shifted.
Yeah, exactly.
That quick. So you're not shifting it once you're up here, you know?
No, yes. And the same thing will apply on the downswing. We'll get to that. But Grant, why don't you hit one more?
Okay.
And let's either draw a line up his leg, or let's imagine that line up his leg. And you're gonna notice him staying inside of that on the backswing and how far forward of that he moves during the downswing.
Perfect.
And that again is gonna help solid contact, low point, consistency. Yeah, really good, dude. Really, really nice. So if we actually shift, Grant, why don't we have you face this way, kind of set up like this here, where this is in the middle of your feet.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna look from this camera here so you can tell. This line that's in the middle of his feet, you can take a setup there where you feel comfy. What he's actually gonna do from this angle, from about the takeaway to the top, and why this stick is in here for the backswing, you're gonna notice his right hip and really his tailbone from the takeaway to the top is actually gonna be working towards the target.
Yeah.
Okay, where your hips go, your weight goes. And you notice as he goes back, and it's just a little bit, right? We're looking like an inch or a golf ball. But when he finishes his backswing, let's take the setup again.
Yep.
So during the takeaway, do a takeaway, Grant, he pretty much just stays right on it. There's not a lot of action. But to start the weight shift on the downswing, before he actually finishes the backswing, the hips are actually gonna ever so slightly start moving forward. Let's flip back spots here.
Yep.
So when you guys put this alignment rod down, you can actually imagine that your right hip during the backswing is gonna actually start moving towards that line. Moving towards that line before we're finishing the backswing. Grant, let's hit one more with just that.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk through the downswing piece.
Perfect.
So a couple of key movements here as Grant hits here, and we'll take a look at it. It's okay to start a little bit more forward, especially with the irons, okay?
Right.
Any shifting is gonna happen early, but really from the takeaway to the top, that hip working towards the target is really the thing that initiates the downswing weight shift. Yeah, really good there. And I like that, he felt that a little bit more to exaggerate for the visual.
Yep.
Just to feel that. What we can't have, and what you're gonna struggle with, Grant, let's show him the bad. There's a big hip sway away from the target all the time. So if we start, even if you start pretty good, but as soon as the hips go too far away from the target, too far behind that stick at the setup position, you're really gonna be making up for it the whole time. It's even hard to do, huh?
Yeah, no, like,
do.
I'll try and hit one like this.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of recovery involved.
A lot of recovery,
moving this way. Oh, it's hard, yeah. And I feel like what I lost there was the stretch and the power. It felt like I just went this way and there was nothing coiling.
Yeah, you wanna do the weight shifting early, right? You wanna do it early. Now that same stick applies, if Grant hits one more here, that same stick is gonna apply for a visual, okay, I'm at the top of my backswing, what do I do from there through? Let's watch Grant hit one. And Grant, if you just hold your finish for us for a second when you're done. So same thing, starting a little bit more forward, good load on the backswing. Really good, hold that for a second. So notice when Grant comes through that all of his hips have gone forward of that stick on the ground. All of his hips have gone forward. So when he hits here, if we were to look at or draw a line up from the golf ball, this is a really good reference point if you're someone who hangs back on your back foot, or you get stuck, or you need a feel to finish your golf swing. You wanna get all of your hips forward of the golf ball or forward of that stick on the ground. And just like Grant, a lot of the weight shift on the backswing happened early.
Right.
A lot of this is gonna happen early and throughout the whole downswing. Okay, so hips all the way forward of the golf ball into the finish. Yeah, beautiful. And again, I mean, Grant does that really, really well. And if you look at any really consistent ball striker, their hips are gonna move way forward and they're gonna get this. This is what we're looking for. There's a beautiful dollar bill divot here right past the golf ball. So the hips going forward gets the weight forward, enables us to strike that golf ball first and ground second.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that feels really good. Like I said, when I'm playing some of my worst golf, it's when I'm hanging back and actually my spine angle, if anything, arches too much this way.
Yeah.
And that usually happens when I'm in this position way back here. It's because I'm stuck and underneath, and then from there I'm trying to square it up. So
yeah,
when I'm moving left and the club's right here, that's when I'm playing my best golf.
Now, some of that hang back with the driver, different ball game. We're gonna talk about that in our next video. That can be good, but when a golf ball's on the ground, start neutral slightly forward, feel like that right hip starts working towards the target in the second half of the swing, and keep pushing the hips forward all the way into the finish position. And then hopefully you can swing a little bit like Grant.
Thank you so much.
Right?
Hey.
Grant, appreciate you coming out here. Osprey, appreciate you guys having us out here on the golf course. Hopefully this weight shifting helps you get you more consistent in your golf swing. If you haven't seen Grant's stuff before, or even if you have and want to continue to, we're going to put that link down below for Grant's main channel. Play some awesome golf courses and some of the best golfers in the world with some matches, some cool upcoming videos too, right?
Yeah, we got some good stuff.
I don't want to spoil any of that stuff.
Yeah, no.
Good videos coming, and his teaching channel. That'll be down below. Thank you guys for watching.